Get ready for your new season. Hallelujah. I just get excited just looking and seeing and considering the goodness of Jehovah, the goodness of what He has ordained and planned for us. Our Tata la bibi amandoka sagia kakadosh kaniska de balahaya kontre mizeliba beto mishtakia kalabond in villa bodosh kateke amaha. I get excited by what the Lord is doing, what He continues to do. And my prayer for you is that you would see what God is doing, so that you do not allow yourself to discommunicate or disconnect from the purposes of Jehovah. Today, as I continue with Get Ready for a New Season, I want to zero on the dimension of sowing. The dimension of sowing. The dimension of sowing. The earth's number is the number 4. 4 is the number of the earth. It's the number that stands for the earth. It stands for creation. It stands for winds. It stands for seasons. Number 4 stands for the earth. It also stands for creation. It stands for winds. It stands for seasons. It stands for seasons because there are 4 seasons: summer, autumn, winter, spring. Seasons are also defined by sowing, tending, reaping, and gathering. It stands for winds. Winds are defined by the polar directions: north, south, east, and west. It stands for creation. Number 4 stands for creation. God created 4 kinds of flesh. The flesh of man, given to rule over the other fleshes. The flesh of the beast, that which crawls upon the face of the earth. The flesh of the fishes, that which swarms or swims in the seas and the rivers. The flesh of the fowl, that which flies above the earth. The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a season to plant, a season to reap, a season to weep, a season to laugh, a season to kill, and a season to heal, a season to destroy and a season to build, a season to dance and a season to mourn, a season to gather and a season to scatter, a season to find and a season to put away, a season to guard and a season to throw away, a season to tear and a season to sow, a season to speak, a season to be silent, a season to love and a season to hate, a season for peace and a season for war. That is why when an individual or an institution or a family or a church are stuck in one season, it is a sign of an error. Nature rebels against being stuck to one season. If Zimbabwe had winter for 12 months, the whole world would send specialists to come and find out what has gone wrong. Oh, I don't like your response at all. Seasons are given to benefit us. The winter is a time of creativity. The winter is defined as a time of low activity, therefore low physical activity, therefore higher mental activity. Oh, Lord have mercy. As a student, I preferred winter to summer because in winter I could concentrate better. In summer was a different story. Poverty wasn't meant to kill you. Poverty was designed for you to develop the desperation for prosperity. I don't know, someone is going to understand it. Poverty speaks of deprivation. Deprivation is meant to be the catalyst for abundance. Because I am deprived, I must then desire abundance because of my condition and my situation. Sowing involves work. The work that you do in the season of sowing is to learn how I can come into the harvest. Therefore, when I sow, are you listening? When I sow, what I do is I create, or when the season for sowing comes, it engenders an environment where I must learn the dynamics of sowing. How do I learn the dynamics of sowing? I've got to learn about seed. What kind of seed works? That's why you have Christians, 30 years, they've been given offerings in church, but they are still poor. Never bother to stop and say, if God said, give and it shall be given unto you, and I've been given for 30 years and yet I am still poor, either God is a liar or I am a liar. The Bible says, let every man, but let God be true. Is that correct or is that correct? Therefore, the season itself tells you what the competencies you need are. If I am in a season of winter, winter says I must learn how to be warm. Winter says I must prepare. If you are like me, you have a wardrobe which shifts. My wife allocated me a section because we have a top and a bottom wardrobe, and then we have our individual wardrobes. So the top wardrobe is divided into two. Her portion, my portion. I use my portion to define seasons. The jackets stay in the top section in summer because I do not wear the jackets in summer. A light jacket that I use is one that at times stays in the bottom section. So in the bottom section, I have my suits. Then comes out my jackets. Now in winter, part of the suits go to the top section. The jackets come to the bottom section. Because the jackets in winter I wear every day. Our electric blankets in summer, they are stashed away. In winter, they are brought out. My long johns, my thermal vests, in summer, I can't even ask and say, where are they? Because all I know is they're somewhere in the house. I just don't know where. And quite frankly, I don't care. Because they are of no relevance. Once winter comes, I now want to desperately know where they are. But I was not born with the thermal vest and the long johns. I'm not a jersey person. I do not wear jerseys. Don't ask me why. I just don't wear jerseys. I had one jersey which the children took over, and I don't know what they did with it. It had buttons. Loved that jersey. That's the only jersey that I wore. Before winter comes, I review my winter stock. What kind of t-shirts do I have? Do I have plain t-shirts so that if I want to wear a t-shirt inside, I do not appear like I just dropped off? You ever seen people is wearing a suit? He's got a shirt and you can see the print on the t-shirt underneath the suit. Don't say anything about that. Let's just leave it there. I used to have corduroy shirts. I gave all of them away. Those shirts were only worn in the winter. So winter made me understand what fabrics were suitable for winter. I had to learn. I had to prepare. In the ministry, as the ministry has grown, I have had to learn business principles which I did not know during the time that I was in business, in management in the company I worked in. Now I've got to know how to negotiate leases. I've got to be able to read a lease and say, sorry, can't do. I am not signing this lease. Why? Anyone else can sign. I won't. Because the lease is against me. I know the lease is against me because the business sense has defined already, because of the seed I have sown on the inside, when this person is trying to sow wrong seed, why is it that people go into agreements which you look at and you say, what? How could you sign such an agreement? They were dumb. In other words, they did not sow. Oh, that's quiet here today. They did not sow in themselves. So how are they to know what is right when they did not sow? I used to wonder, people would say to me, Pastor, is it all right for a Christian to smoke? As time went on, I discovered black people never ask those questions. You'll never meet a black person who come and ask you, Pastor, is it right to smoke? You hear that question, you know they're not born again. There is no, when a black person gets born again, they never ask you, is it all right to drink? Is it all right to smoke? No, they never ask you. Why? Because naturally they know it's wrong. Only in South Africa is where you find Christians sipping a little beer, and a little, of course, is a matter of personal interpretation. Not in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, you start drinking, we tell you off. As you bought the food, so we tell us straight, just fair, bah, we tell you. Why is it that other races struggle smoking and drinking? When a black man gets born again, doesn't even have to come and say, Mfundisi, I just wanted to know. No, I have been a Christian now for over 30 years. Never had one person come to me and say, is it right? But why is it that coloreds and whites struggle with smoking? It's the reason why you came here. You think you know I'm not going to. Hello? Why are you looking surprised? Colored children grow up in the majority of environments where from the day they are born, white children, they encounter smoke. It becomes normal. That's why you go to most churches. When most colored people and white people, born again for years after the service, born again, talking in tongues after the service, outside the and tell the person got born again but hasn't met Christ. They understood the principle but never met the person of the principle. The Bible says your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Why would you want to go and ask someone whether it's right or wrong to smoke or drink? Are you sure you are hearing? I've never found one person who, oh, look how well they are doing from smoking. When you smoke, you smell filthy. What is smoking? You are planting a seed. The spirit of nicotine, do you know what I said? Spirit of nicotine is a demonic spirit. It's very quiet here today. The seed is planted, and therefore children are born thinking it's normal. South African blacks now have taken over. Are you aware there are more women, black women now in South Africa smoking than men? Because for black women, it's supposed to be a sign of liberation. I can stink myself out because I'm free. I think every person who has ever kissed a smoker needs to be compensated. Don't go around licking an ashtray. There's nothing sexy about smoking. You just smell. And you smell bad. Why would you want something which, even when they sell cars, or advertise a used car, they say non-smoker? Meaning, if you buy this car, it won't be smelling any smoke. I mean, if smoking was so cool, why is it that when they are selling a car, they say it's a non-smoker's car? Are we still here? Look at your neighbor and say, you are getting set free. Oh, look at them again. Tell them, I'm serious. You are getting set free. The Bible says you will know the truth, and what will it do? Whatever season you come into, when you are not ready for that season, you're going to have to wait for the next one. You don't come into the benefit of a season because the season has arrived. It only benefits you because you are ready. The farmer prepared for it. When it rains, it's a bonus. The one who was not ready. Haven't you heard people in town complaining about rain? Oh, it's raining too much. The people in the rural areas, you call them, oh, God is so good to us. Why? The people in the rural areas were ready. They were waiting In fact, Chenjerai wrote a book called The Coming of the Rainy Season. Is that correct? Oh, by the way. Waiting. It's Charles Mungoshi. Waiting for the rainy season. Waiting for the rain. Oh no, okay, I remembered. The Coming of the Rainy Season was written by me. No, that's not a joke. I told you about the essay I wrote at Ishati, which was taken and read to all O-level students. Haven't I told you the testimony? That was the essay, The Coming of the Rainy Season. To everything, the Bible says, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, there is a, talk to me someone. So to everything, it means to you. To you there is a, you are a thing. The Bible says to everything there is a season. But how many seasons do you have? I'm not hearing you well. So when you get stuck in one season, something is what? Wrong. The Bible says to every season there is a what? Talk to me someone. So to everything there is a, to every season there is a, meaning God has given you time to develop your finest abilities in whatever you need to do. I'm not hearing you well. Time has been granted to you. Whenever you find people that don't have time, it's because they don't have wisdom. It's not an issue of time. It's a dimension of wisdom. They do not know how to plan their lives. God gave 24 hours in a day. They have not been reduced or extended. Other people prosper during that time. Other people become poorer during that time. The difference, remember, in the parable of the wise virgins and the stupid ones, the difference between wisdom and stupidity is preparation. The wise ones are called wise because they were ready. The foolish are called foolish because they were not ready. Oh, I'm not hearing you well. So, time in your life is what is defining your success or lack of it. Not just time, but the usage of. So, to everything there is a, and to every season there is a, and to every time and season there is a. Oh my God, I think someone is going to catch that. Let's go back again. So, to everything, thing is you. Thing is this building. Thing is your car. When you think like Ndebele, you buy a car, you want to keep it for the rest of your life. See, just look around, you find all the Ndebeles. And all the ones smiling are all shown now. No. You need to tell that person, no. Everything has been given a season by God. The Japanese understand that. That's why after 5 years, they send their cars to Zimbabwe. Guess who's suffering with obsolete things? In Japan, people use computers. When new computers come out, they take those, go and leave them by the gate for the foreigners to come and pick them up and take them home. Time. Everything has been given time because of its purpose. Are you here? An omission of one season would cause a catastrophic disaster. Did you see what happens when we miss the rainy season? Hello? We go back to the whites we were insulting. Keep your food. Because Because we did not understand seasons, there is going to be drought in our lives. Somebody's not hearing. Joseph is in prison. He has a dream. And in the dream, there's going to be 7 years of drought. Did the drought kill anyone? No, it didn't. Why? Because there was a man who understood seasons. When he appeared before Pharaoh and he interpreted, Pharaoh said, Mnangagwa can't do this. Chinamasa can't do this. BT, I don't trust. He said, you, my boy, you are now in the Politburo. Why? He said, is there any man so wise in the whole of Egypt? So wise as this man to take us into these seasons. God said, what should I do? Joseph said, no, we are going to install big barns. In these 7 years, we are not going to be eating like mad people. I grew up in Chabalala, and townships, well, it's a new generation now, some of you don't know this. Townships, all townships feel superior to other townships. Okay, you don't know that. We used to say all civilized people lived in Chabalala. That's why whenever there was trouble, when Ntumbane erupted, all the people from Ntumbane, Makandeni, Mzilikas all came and they were refugees in Chabalala. See, some of you don't know that. Chabalala is where all the refugees came to. We were the United States. United States of Chabalala. People came to Chabalala fleeing the war. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So in Chabalala, we always looked at Sizinda. As far as we were concerned, Sizinda people were backward. Are you listening? So the understanding in Chabalala was, because Sizinda people were given those houses. Those houses originally were railways houses. Chabalala was not railways. We bought them. So, what would then happen is, our fathers would come and say, hey, you know your cousins in Sizinda, they are in trouble. Why? And the people in Sizinda earned more money than the people in Chabalala. Because the railways was a very good pair. But guess what? In Sizinda, there'd be money the first 3 days of the month. After that, the money gone. Because they got paid like on Friday. And so they take the money, buy crates of drinks, so the father would arrive, buy 2 live chickens. Those days there were no dead chickens. You went to Chabalala to Mtonono. Oh, yeah. I'm bringing memories for some of you. Let's not do that. Now, you went to Mtonono, you bought 2 live chickens. Then go there, buy 2 live chickens, buy a crate of Coca-Cola. Then go, you didn't just buy Coca-Cola only. When you buy, you would say, you're telling me Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was the cover name for every drink. Then you get there and you say, Agunyipi mixture. And the boy at the grocer would then put spaletta, tarino, and everything else and mixed them. That was on Friday. On Saturday, you'd bring out the Super 60s, Supersonic Super 60. From morning, 6 a.m. Solona Mutai, Bachatira Paruzeva, Solona Mutai, Rambai Jakadaro. That was Saturday. And Sunday, we're killing off the chickens. We were wiping the place. Oh, Monday was becoming very stressful. Tuesday, the school fees had not been paid, but money had been wiped out. Why? Lack of understanding of Talk to me, someone. What do? We take our children, send them to school, and we say, I want you to learn. I want you to become a great person. And the children go to school, meet Jack, who's coming from a home where his father is a jerk. And so he is connected to Jack. Whatever you connect yourself to, you connect to the season of that thing. And the season of that thing, this is a family which for generations have not raised anything successful. Suddenly the parents are coming and saying, Fundis, we can't understand this. He was so brilliant. He came out with 4 points at grade 7. Now Form 2, he failed every subject. Guess what? He connected to a season which is older than him. Did you know that every student sitting in school, when students look at teachers, every teacher is stupid to a student? What do they know? You know, we are today when you see the people who are not doing their homework, you see them and you look aside, you pretend like you didn't see them. Bothwell! Bothwell! Until they come and tap you and say, hi, daughter, ha! Nishek! You saw them 5 minutes ago. You just wanted to walk away. Why? Because they were not doing their homework. Everyone who did their homework, you want to go and greet their hands. Everyone who jumped out of the classroom, you want to pretend like you didn't see them. When they get close and they're keeping on calling your name, you start singing, Jesus, Jesus. Why? Because no one wants to connect with anything that is not successful. To everything there is a season. To every season there is a purpose. So, the seasons come. Every season has 4 parts to it. Every season that you will enter in your life has 4 parts. Marriage, 4 parts. School, 4 parts. Friendship, 4 parts. Pastoral ministry, 4 parts. Ministry, 4 parts. Politics, 4 parts. Do you realize that 1980, when we were excited about independence, if we had the opportunity, took all the ministers and said, gentlemen, there are 4 seasons. You sow, you tend, you gather, then you store. We entered into the harvest. 34 years of harvesting without sowing. Years harvesting without sowing. That's why we said, you know what? Let's do the right thing. The land redistribution thing. Oh, am I going to get myself into political trouble? Was Joshua Nkomo's vision? When should it have been done? 1980. Is when it should have been done. Done properly. Today we import maize from Zambia. Zambia. We used to laugh at Zambia. If someone had paid money, we called it a kwacha. It didn't matter what it was. Oh, you still don't know. Let me teach some of you who are much younger. Did you know that a South African rand was not acceptable in Zimbabwe? First time I went to the to the UK, I was in Germany for a couple of days. The rate was 1:4. By then we were already where it says Pambil. Pound, 1:7. But pound Shall I help some of you? Pound was 2:1. 2 pounds, 1 Zim dollar. I could tell you of a certain businessman whose name will remain anonymous. He found a flat in London, smuggled 45,000 dollars from here. Dollars from here. Carried them in a briefcase, hid them nicely. Got to London and paid the person for a flat. 45,000. Men accepted it. He knew it's a good man. But when you are just harvesting, you see a mango tree, you harvest. You just wait and harvest. Hey, wait and harvest. Did you see what happened to our brothers who took over orange plantations? You know the orange fields when you're going to Harare? Do you see any oranges there now? Why? We're harvesting. Harvest time. You just harvest. Today you harvest. Tomorrow you harvest. You'll come back again, you harvest. No. Can I show you that spirit again? You meet a woman, you want to harvest. After 5 years, why? Because both of you wanted to harvest. Now, those of you that are attending the marriage training seminar, now you know there are 4 stages of relationship. Number 1 is what? Friendship. Number 2 is courtship. Number 3 is marriage. Number 4 is soulmate. This is your chummy of chummy. It's not your wife. You can phone each other when the other one is in another country. Phone each other and say, huh? I was just about to phone you. No, the thing is you are connected. Do you know what? Twins who are connected, who are friends. One twin can be in one country, the other in another country. The twin will stand up and tell you, my brother is sick. You know why? They are connected. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You arrive to that stage now when you are married. Friendship, minimum 2 years. Courtship, minimum 12 months. Marriage, minimum 15 years. Because before 15 years, you are not yet married. You are living together. After 15 years, now you start learning each other. 20 years, now you make application for secondary school of marriage. That's where me and my wife are. We are applying. I beg to apply for a vacancy. Isn't that what we Africans say? I beg to apply. You don't find it anywhere else on the planet. Only in Africa is where you beg to apply. You're not just saying, I apply for a job. I beg to apply. So, after about, I would say, 30 to 35 years, now you're soulmates. 30 to 35 years. You're connected by something. You know what it is? You're connected. You're one person in 2 locations. Are you sure you're hearing me? That's when you find in instances like that, people who are soulmates. One person dies, you're not giving the other one 1 to 2 years. They won't live that long. Why? Because when the other person dies, they also die. Oh, am I confusing anyone here? One person dies. One person dies. They don't see any reason to live. Why should I be alive? Part of me has already died. But there between 2 years and 15, remember I said you're not yet married. You're living together. The partner dies and 3 months. Bentenza libonisa umama mncane omutsha. Tell someone, I think I get this. Tell them again, I think I get this. So between seed time and harvest, there is what? Time. Time is what matures things. Causes you to prepare for what you may not have been prepared for. James chapter 5 verse 7, be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, and he has long patience for it until he receives the early and the latter rain. If it's important, it's worth waiting for. There is a shop called, what's that Chinese shop at 5 Avenue Shopping Center? It's not Tunku's. Tunku's was here, isn't it? Okay, I forget the name. It's a Chinese shop at the 5 Avenue Shopping Center in Harare. I love the sign. I love their spring rolls. And you know, they make nice Chinese food. And it's got a sign there, good food takes time to prepare. So be patient. I love that place. What they're saying is, you want to eat rubbish, go next door. You want to eat good food, wait. That's why I don't eat 1 minute noodles. Ask my wife. 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minute noodle, doesn't matter. Any meal that takes 2 minutes to prepare is not a meal. Ask my wife. My wife will tell you, in all our married life, I have never bought 2 minute noodles. When they have been at our house, she bought them. I have never bought pilchards. Tinshaya ngaphakathi. Me, I buy ram steak. I marinate it. 2-3 days. By the time you put it on the fire. Yesterday, we arrived home at about 7-ish, past 7. And I said, am I smelling a braai? My daughter said, yes, that's a braai. It wasn't just a braai. It was good meat they were braaiing. Because even from the smell, you can tell this is good meat. Then when you go to these places, Mazinyane and all, where they just burn meat, you can smell the meat, all you are smelling is just oil, amafuta. But good meat, and smell. Me, I can direct you just. My mother used to get surprised. How can I have a poor son who is choosy what he eats? I arrive home, my mother says, I don't know what you're going to eat today because pegging you watch. I never liked pork. Never liked pork or beans, sugar beans, butter beans. Now, if you are a Malawian, being Malawian is equivalent to beans. It's impossible not to be Malawian and not love beans. Me, I don't know. That's why at times when my father would insult me, be angry with me and said, you are not my son, I end up thinking, I think this man is right. I think this man is right. He likes pork, I don't like pork. He likes fish, I don't like fish. He likes butter beans and sugar beans. I don't like butter beans and sugar beans. Then I was introduced to seafood. Suddenly I knew. This is the grace upon my life. Galatians chapter 6 verse 7. Be not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, shall he also reap. So, the seed that you sow. Are you still with me? Look at your neighbor, say, I'm still here. If your neighbor is sleeping, slap them on the head. All right, very good. All right, next time slap them harder. All right, now, the seed that you sow, are you listening? Please, only write when you have understood. Don't be like, I'm not dictating notes, just write. No, write only what you understand. The seed that you sow is that which leaves your hand. Watch. And it travels to your tomorrow. To go and deal with tomorrow so that tomorrow can get ready for you. Watch this again. Watch this. The rain start, what do? We start plowing and it's in November. We have two choices. You can eat a gual or you can sow it. It's better most of the time to eat a gual. Someone is not hearing me. But you are going to sow and the rest are going to come and eat the seed. So it's better to make umkang. Oh, now I'm speaking in tongues now. It's not there in English, so I'm sorry. There is no word for it. It's a klang. So it's better to have a mkanga and eat it than sow. Sowing is a risk. But here is a problem. You eat your mkanga in the morning. After lunchtime, you go deposit it in the black toilet. Mkanga gone. Mkanga gone. Seed you sow. November. Sowing the seed. Why? You want the seed to talk to you in April. Oh, I'm not hearing you well. What is the seed doing? Whatever I eat now is my harvest. Whatever I sow is my seed. What I am eating is my harvest. So watch. Hey, give me a note. Thank you. I think I'm going to forget to give back this money. All right. Now, here I have money. I have $200 here. This $200 can either be lunch. We go to Bon Journée, and this $200 can be lunch. Are you sure you understand it? Or I can take this $200 and I can sow it. There are different ways of sowing. Most of my sowing is done in God's house. Or you can sow on the stock market. Or I can take this money and say, what do people like buying these days? You don't know. What do people like buying? What do people ask for? They want blankets. Yeah, good. Here's my Karacho. My Karacho is a businesswoman. So people want warm blankets. All right? So I say, there's $200. I want you to buy me blankets wherever they buy them from. So next week, he comes for blankets with $200, and there is, let's say there is 20 of them. Is that correct? They make it $20, which makes it 200 rand. All right. So there is 20. I have 20 blankets from the $200. Now, then I come here and I say, how many of you were called last night? Hands go up all. Okay, all right. Anyway, bring, I have blankets here, very nice, very warm, very soft, very cushy, very, very nice. It's good, it's nice. Bring, you pay $20 this month, $20 next month. So all of you come, now you are fighting. I say, all right. No, look, John, Wednesday, he's going to bring me more blankets. So you are coming now, you are paying me my seed. When you've taken the 20, I pocket them. I take that 20, I give it back to Ray again. Bring me some more blankets. So Ray goes. Now I have no money, but I had money. I could have gone to Bonjourné. What is a popular restaurant? It's Bonjourné. I'm going to lose, brothers. Nando's. No, Nando's is $7. You can't spend $200 at Nando's. Okay, somewhere where they eat expensive food. All right. So now, this afternoon, I could have finished this money. By evening, I would have dispatched the food via the sewage system. Am I right or am I right? But now, guess what I have? You who took the blankets, you owe me $200. Ray on Wednesday brings me more blankets, another 20, which I then, I'm a generous man. I know it was tight. So I want to ask for the $40 one time. We have 50% this month, 50% next month. I'm a good pastor. So, do you realize that in the space of 1 week, I now have $600? You owe me 200. 20 other blankets are coming which are worth 400. Why? Because I saw what you saw travels into your future. That's why the Bible says that the husbandman has got what? Patience. But if you are looking to, you want to sow now and harvest now. Go and become a conman. A conman is one who wants to harvest all the time. Sorry, put. After that, Ray is saying, now I have harvested. His phone is worth $800. I then come to you. We ends at $200. Right, me for 40. A man tried to sell me a diamond in South Africa. He had a gold chain with Swiss jewelry's tag on it. From Eastgate, I was at the, is it KFC? By Eastgate. He brought me a chain with the label on it. Then he said to me, no, my bra, I get these things, man. Help, man, I'm hungry, man. They stuck out his tongue. He had a diamond on his tongue here. Wanted 500 rand for the chain. I said, no, I'm not interested. He came down to 200. I said, I'm not interested. So, all right, give me 50 rand, my bra, please. Please, my bra. How much money did I have? I had several thousand rand. Did I buy? No. Why? Principle. I do not reap where I did not sow. Your seed. You went to school, spent how many years in primary school? 7 years. Did you see any amazing, there was a parade and bam, 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 and you came, and the president came. The president said, Tinofara kuti vana vevu, vanodzidza. Mwana uyu, grade 7 uyu. Uchaita minister wepano. No, president doesn't even attend. After the grade 7 exams, you go to the school and say, I want my results. Then they look and say, just take the paper, give you. You've got 4 ones. The secretary doesn't even have the decency to say, oh, well done, Mtanami. When they would just take it, give you. Because your child failed. Are you looking for praise? No. You are sowing. When you are sowing, don't look for people to come and say, Umanuve. We have to shyly line a straight sow. I can't move. I can't move. Ever be cool so. And hamba straight. seminar sowing. I never heard one person say that. Because when you are sowing, they are not cheerleaders. When you are doing your degree, you are burning the midnight oil. Zesa goes, you use candles. You look like a primitive person. When you get to work, you are smelling a bit of smoke. People say, huh? You're smelling smoke. No, don't worry. Don't worry, I'm smelling smoke right now. You are just smelling cheap cologne. Me, I'm smelling smoke. Give me 4 years. Now you'll be saying, hey, what? He roll on, my brother, roll on. She's Paco Rabanne. Then say to them, pronounce it, say Paco Rabanne. Uthatha mbija numuthi. Bese sefona ntambama, hayi ndoda please, hayi zama please, mfowethu hayi zama. Why? Because you smell smoke. That was sowing. Now you are harvesting. Yeah, look at Glen Tea from 1986. David plants time. Musical genius. Why? He thinks he likes music. He doesn't know God has a purpose for it. He's playing. Play the son. Play. He is playing. As far as he's concerned, he just likes music. What he doesn't know, God has purpose for it. What does God do? The CIO come and say, I think the king needs someone to play music for him. So they call David. He comes and sits there. He's playing music. Whilst he's playing, he's watching how things are done in the palace. And he's sending a WhatsApp, Mommy, today the president of Zimbabwe arrived. I met him. He came to talk to me. What's God doing? Connecting him. He's watching how protocol is done. When another king arrives, how do you greet them? So he's watching. He's just playing. He's just playing. He's playing. To him, he is playing. To God, you realize that you don't hear David playing the harp after he becomes king. Because the harp was to take him into the palace. Somebody needs to understand this. You train as an accountant. After you become the financial director, you don't do accounts. All you do is just checking. No, that's not correct. Please go and do this properly. Why? Because only what you have invested in is what God allows you to reap from. David is watching. Okay, all right, this is how it's done. Hey, sends a WhatsApp to his mother. Says, guess what? I met Muammar Gaddafi today. He looks like a nice guy. He's sowing. He spent time sowing in the bush, learning how to play. Now he plays nicely. It graduates into the king's. Oh, I don't like your celebration. Watch this. Esther, the only foreign girl. There's 2,000 beautiful girls. If the uncle comes and says, my girl, I think you should go and join. Esther said, Sekuru, please. Sekuru, look how dark I am. My hair is not even long enough. Sekuru said, no. Sekuru, how do you know? But that you have come into the kingdom for such an hour. Is this? You're comparing yourself to someone. Don't compare yourself to anyone. You are unique, you are special as you are. Sow into yourself. Takes 12 months before she's ready to meet the king. 12 months. Ladies, are you listening to me? Takes 2 minutes to meet a boyfriend. 12 months to meet a husband. It's all right. You'll understand that sometime. Joseph spends time at the prayer altar praying, Lord, teach me how to hear your voice. Teach me how to hear your voice. Then he has a dream. Lord, what does the dream mean? Interprets it. He's excited. He's learning. When he's praying at the altar, the other young people are watching movies and playing video games. You want to ask about video games, you go to them. They'll tell you. This guy is not as flashy as all the young people. But he's learning to hear God's voice. God is preparing him for one day. How many years does it take? My God, it takes about 30 years preparing him for one day. One day only. One day, there is a crisis. I had a dream. Wise men, come and interpret. Wise men, come. Say, okay, tell me the dream. King, what you're asking for is impossible. You have to tell us the dream we interpret. The king said, go and lock them up. I'll deal with them later. We're going to chop off their heads. Prepare the swords. Until someone comes and says, oh king, there's a wise man, but he's in prison. He said, where? He's in prison. Go and bring him quickly. Bring him. I understand you can interpret dreams. No, sir. I can't interpret dreams, but my God can interpret dreams. Okay. All right. Maybe you're trying to trick me like them. All right. What did I dream last night? Oh, king, you dreamt there were 7 cows. This is what happened. And then you dreamt there were 7 stocks. This is what happened. The king said, Manje, pano, apasina kanemwenzira. Apara nemwenzira. Is there anyone who is worthy for promotion like this guy? Bring me the list of the Politburo. Phones, head of CIO. Jonathan Moyo, wanange anga ama dreams. Chef. Anga shondi bvunza yake dream iri kumkatlamadza sterek. Saka hambo tibetsera. So the king says, you know what? I have no choice. Using my presidential authority, no elections for vice president. You now are vice president. Just said, all right, but I left my clothes at the prison. You did not hear what I said. You are now in charge of the prison as well. From now on, take him, go and show him his palace. One day, you are sleeping on a stone. The next day, you have a pillow expert come and say, see this kind of pillow is... Someone shout season. Shout season one more time. David is spending time doing target shooting with a sling. 6 months, never hit the target. Next 6 months, hit the target twice. He keeps on practicing until this guy is good. He's so good, he says, all right, take an apple, put it on that tree. I'll drop it. Down. People say, this guy is good. This guy is really good. I was so obsessed with firearms. I love firearms. So obsessed with them, I began to do target shooting. I took my wife and her sister one day to a farm to go and train them how to shoot. Do you know what targets I was using? Targets the size of ladies' lipstick. That size. Put them at a distance, then come and shoot them off from there. Just that the president doesn't know my skills. If the president knew my skills, he'd have told them, Kutara, and I'm not sure in the end, without a mire pan. That's my bodyguard from now on. And I know he doesn't backbite, he's not good. Sometimes I trust him. Yeah. I'm be standing behind me there praying in tongues. Shalakita kamasala bahand. Can a in distress? I know he's going to be calling upon heaven. So I no, call. Yeah. David doesn't know all that target practice. All the target practice is meant for one person. Did you hear David using a sling after he dropped Goliath? Because the sling was meant for a purpose. The purpose was for him to become the king. To become the king, he had to kill Goliath. I don't know whether somebody is understanding this. To everything there is a, and to every season there is a, to every time there is a. Don't live your life. Hey, no, don't live like an animal. Define what job you want. Saw your way to it. You came out with 3 O levels. You are not dead. It means your brain is still working. Go and get the other 2. Are you sure you're hearing what I'm saying? And don't come with excuses. Resources always come to those with vision. What about the widow of Zarephath? See, something you already possess today, now, is the key to your future and the abundance to your drought. Whatever you keep becomes your harvest. Whatever you sow travels into your future to multiply what exists now for your needs of the future. Let me start there. Let me stop there for a moment. My father bought his house for £3.10. £3.10. House in Chabalala was bought. A house in Morningside we bought for 360,000 Zim dollars. A house in Kumalo, 160,000 US dollars. Can you see what's happening? My school fees when I was at school was $3.65. I'm paying 1.7 US for Juanita. Mine was $3.65 and my father still wouldn't pay it. If there is no sowing now, there is no future. Are you understanding this? Okay, watch. I had to learn public decorum. Learn how to connect with people. Had to learn to dress in a particular way. So that when you come here, you don't live here and, hey, I'm Fundisone, who needs help. And nobody ever came here and left here feeling sorry for me. If anything, they leave here feeling angry. Are you sure you're hearing what I'm saying? Those things did not materialize by themselves. I had to sow towards them. You'll never see me wearing a suit whose color is fighting with me. Why? What you sow, you must harvest. What is the point? But when people are ignorant, you wear a suit and people say, hey, shame. Hey. When you are harvesting, the suit goes around shouting. Pamberna mfundis. Pamberna mfundis. So everywhere you go, Pamberna mfundis. Thank you. Thank you. Pamberna mfundis. Thank you. Pamberi namfundis. Basine naradada. Basine nunjwa tunjwa. So now Mfundisi, I said, bring out his best. Basinema colors. Asingaburithi Mfundisi. The suit will be campaigning for you. But when you are ignorant, you haven't sown, you wear things. The suit said, Agelibon. Agelibon. Surely liambonisa na. I met one lady near Hayfields. I'd started working at the factory, the Edgar's factory. And there was a lady at the head office who thought she knew better. I went and I said to management, how is it possible that a white woman who lives in Kumalo, who has never been to our funerals or to our weddings, is going to tell me how black women dress? Oh no, she travels over the world. I said, Hey. You are sewing dresses for my mother, for my sister, and for my wife. And you know better than me. At Icon. One season at the factory, when I moved there, this woman went to the chain board, Edgar's board, and said, no, whatever that guy does in terms of his designs, it must be approved by the board. So the board said, okay. When I brought out my range, never called them. And no time for that. Why was I consulting people who didn't even know fashion? Just because you're in the board doesn't mean you know fashion. Are you sure you understand this? I went and I sold the range. It sold 2.5 times more than the previous range. The board was ecstatic. Guess what happened the following season? The board itself said, we think this Bothwell must travel overseas himself to go and buy his own fabrics. They came to me. The lady who was in charge of buying fabrics came, started wanting to give me a long story, and I said, time out. Just wait. I did not ask to go and buy fabric. If you are feeling threatened, that's your own problem. You go and buy fabric. No, that's not what I meant. I said, I don't work that way. If I'm going to go and buy fabric, I'm going to go and buy fabric. If you are going with me, you're going with me. But don't lay conditions for me. That was sowing. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So we traveled overseas and I bought my own fabric. I came back here, chain board went into an uproar. He overspent. That was in September, October, November. The orders came in November. That was the only work the factory had for 4 months from January to April. Was from the fabric I bought. Did I just buy because I liked it? No. I bought because I had the knowledge. Are you sure you are hearing? Okay, let me leave this part here. I want to finish with this. I'm going to jump these dimensions. Dimensions I needed to give you, but because of time, I want to jump. All seasons begin with the season of what? Shout it out to me. A man sows to receive favor and capture a woman's heart. Guys, you just go propose to a woman and she says immediately yes. Go back and say I was joking. Are you listening? If I was going hunting, I come out of my house in Kumalo and I see a kudu on K Road. I'm not shooting that thing. I am not shooting that thing. Are you listening to me? I am not shooting it. God has blessed you, it's come home. No! I'm going to go to Kezi. 1 hour driving. 5 hours walking around the bush. See nothing. Get back into my car. Drive home. Tell my wife, I couldn't get anything today. I think you should. Huh? I mean, you just arrive home right now. As you enter the gate, there is a briefcase full of US dollars. Hey, when I'm taking that thing to, oh no. Oh no. I am not taking it to the police station. No. No, I'm not taking. Okay, all right. I am phoning. I am putting an advert in the newspaper. Briefcase found full of dollars. When you come, you must describe to me the color of the briefcase, the make, the combination, and everything else. How the money was arranged inside. You can't give me that. Sorry, no briefcase. Are you sure you are hearing me? But I could take the briefcase to my sango. Here I know I can trust. I mean, I've spoken to people. Oh no, I picked up your wallet. Hey, mfundisi. Well, umuntu lwana ngimzwelile so. Bese kathi kule 1.5. Lama ID yakhe. Ngahle ngayichiya emapolice. Nizawo nkosi yami bakithi. Awumphathele imvubu lapho mfana. So all seasons begin with the season of a man sows to receive favor and do what? Capture a woman's heart. But the man now, after capturing the woman, must now capture her family. Oh, please talk to me. You capture the woman. Now you must capture her father and her mother. Arrive there in your best suit. Get into the house. Sit on the sofa. Quietly. Bring a huge grocery. When they see the grocery, when they come into the lounge, then you, as soon as they come in, you stand up. You don't go and start shaking their hands. They're your future in-laws. You stand up. You don't stand up and greet them. It's their house. They talk first. Oh, are you hearing? I stand up. I'm done. I'm really bored. No. When they address you, you answer quietly. You're not looking around the house. No. Eye contact, but not direct eye contact, just above their eyes. You don't look into your mother-in-law's eyes. You don't look into your father-in-law's eyes. Just above there. You sit down. When they say, would you like some tea? Thank you very much. I would love some tea. How many sugars? 2. Not 4. No, nothing above 2. 2. You're trained by Mrs. Caracho. That day you cut down. Or you bring your own sugar. After they look aside, you pour. Now you must catch up the woman's. I'm not hearing you well. Guess what? Now the man must sow into the woman to receive children. Are you hearing me? Then he has children. Now he must sow into the children to raise up godly men and women. The wife, when she's in the house, must now sow into the house to make it a home. Sow into her husband. When it's like a kanye. Now it's quiet. Now it's quiet. Women, are you listening? Don't let your husband come out of the house looking like a Sungura star. No. If he's wearing bright colors, make sure the bright colors are combined nicely. You don't dress properly. I mean, I had a brother of mine passing by the city hall. One day people were coming to him, Dara, please, there was a Macheso show at the city hall. People thought he was Macheso. People were begging, please. What are you talking about? I'm Dara, please, can you ignore him? Dara, don't think my records and you saying, what's going on? He's just passing by. You're just passing by the city hall. The woman saw. For the husband, clips on. Not so fast. Come here. Look at him. No, remove that tie. Remove the tie. Take another tie. Yeah, that's a better tie. Yeah. Didn't polish your shoes properly, foot. Polish your shoes before you leave the house. Not walking down the street and what is the principle? Talk to me, someone. Whatever you are going to be successful in, you are going to need to sow. Sow in prayer to develop intimacy with Jehovah. Prayer involves worship. When I'm worshiping, you don't all exist. Hello? When I'm in worship, you all don't exist. It's just me and the Lord. That's why I can carry out conversations, do things with the Lord whilst you are there. I only realize you when I'm done. Intimacy. So in the study of the Word of God to become a champion. That's why our Bible school is called Champions Bible School. 2 Timothy 2 verse 15. Joshua 1 verse 8. So in fellowship with others to develop relationships. Hebrews 10:24. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as manner of some is. Proverbs 11 verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Why do people fail to sow? I want to finish with this. Why do people fail to sow? Number one, people fail to sow because they want instant gratification. They want to reap now. Galatians 6 verse 9 says, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we will do what? Talk to me, someone. I'm not hearing you. Hey, Matot. The Bible says we will reap if we do not faint. So the only people who harvest are those who have not. I'm not hearing you well. Not just those who have not fainted. The people who reap are those who have, number one, sown. Number two, have not fainted. Because others sow, then faint. Number two, many refuse to sow because they think that they can trick God. The Bible says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow is what you will reap. Watch. Sometimes people have got a group mentality. How many people do you know who boast about their church? I'm not hearing you well. God never ordained you to boast about. River of Life is the name given to the institution where you worship. River of Life is not supposed to be your God. So don't go around boasting to people. Don't sit like that, my baby. You are not at a funeral. Don't go around boasting to people about River of Life. You are not hearing me well. This is our house. This is where we gather together. We need an identity. That's why we have different names. It's so that when we need to identify you, I don't say, Wena. Wena. Upi. Wena. Loano ngale wakon. No. And say, Peter, stand up. That's it. So Peter stands up. It's so that the government, they can also know who they are dealing with. When they want to write a check, they don't say when. They put your name there on it, isn't it? So River of Life is just the name of an identity of us who come and gather together. Is not for you to start developing a big head or our church. No. Only thing that you need to be proud of, talk about, is the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't talk, go, be given. You don't go, and then the prophet did this, and then the prophet did that, and then So why are you worshiping? Sometimes I listen to people and I get very concerned. I look at Facebook and the things people post. I'm wondering, who's the master here? You are aware that you have men of God who are bigger than God. Oh. Go out onto the streets. Some of you went out yesterday to sow salvation. Not saw River of Life. Not saw Prophet Phiri. But saw Jesus. Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Number 3. Many fail to sow because they make excuses of lack. 1 Kings 17 from verse 10. The widow of Zarephath. She didn't make any excuses. Gave the little she had. Do you realize that God did not even talk of her situation? I said God did not talk of her situation. So stop telling God what you don't have. Tell God what the word says. Number 4. Some fail to give because they don't feel like it. They fail to understand that seasons have nothing to do with feelings and everything to do with principle. Ecclesiastes 11:4. He who observes the wind shall not sow, and he who regards the clouds shall not reap. As you know not what the way of the Spirit is, or how the bones grow in the womb of a woman. A woman, a pregnant woman, is a mystery. A pregnant woman is a miracle. If a man developed a bone, he died. He doesn't have quick surgery. He died. A woman develops bones. Are you sure you're hearing me? Don't worry. Leave, sir. Leave the child. He's not going to get lost. Number 5. Some fail to come into their season because they have been lied to and told never to expect a harvest. What was the thing many of you knew before you started learning about prosperity from a biblical perspective? You glorified poverty. I'm satisfied with a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. Poverty worship. Solomon, the Bible says, was the richest man on earth. There will never be another richer than him. It means Solomon would employ Bill Gates and make him his chauffeur. Are you listening? So which God is it, the one that you've been praying to, who promotes poverty? Last time I checked, David wasn't poor. I'm talking to the wrong group here. I said last time I checked, David wasn't poor. He built a tabernacle with gold. When was the last time you made some furniture with gold in it? Oh, Jesus was born in a manger. He was born there, he didn't live there. The manger was deliberate for God to say, you know what? If he could be born in the manger and he was the King of Kings, doesn't matter where I'm born. I'm still going to be great. Are you sure you understanding me? Now, I need you to understand this. understand the principles of the Spirit. Because the principles of the Spirit are the ones that determine where you go tomorrow. So, don't allow for the lie of the doctrine of poverty. Poverty is not godliness. Here is the argument that's made. Oh, Mother Teresa, touched many people in India. She was poor. Which Mother Teresa are you talking about? Excuse me, which Mother Teresa? Which one? Do you guys know that Mother Teresa was a millionaire? Or look at the Catholic priests. How humble they are. The Pope's helicopter is bulletproof. He's got a Pope-mobile, the only car in the world with the name of the person. You're not hearing me. It's not called a Mercedes-Benz. It's called a Pope-mobile. Bulletproof. It's like Barack Obama's car. The doors are this thick. And shoot any gun you want there. You're wasting your time. Poor. The Vatican art collection is worth billions, not millions, billions of dollars. Art dwellings is worth billions of dollars. So the Catholic has managed to build churches everywhere because they were poor. Is a very bad thing. You want to preach to me poverty. What are you going to train me on? I have a PhD in poverty. What are you going to tell me? How many of you used to eat sadza and remove cockroaches whilst you were eating the sadza? How many of you? You're going to start. I have a few suits at home. We have a few cars. Then a person is attacking me. You commit suicide and die now. Because what you're going to see in the next few years. If you can't handle this, I guarantee you a stroke. Please hear me out. Please hear me out. Hear me out. Some of you, you've never listened to that message, the reason why God wants you wealthy, isn't it? Now hear me. How many of you would like to be able to, when the pastors went to give stuff to Ngucheni Hospital, by the way, you guys, you gave blankets, pillows, men's clothes, ladies' clothes, men's shoes, ladies' shoes to Impilo Hospital. Was it last week? Okay, they don't even know. Okay, I think it was last week. 7 cartons, this big. All right? You, not me. All right? Because I represent you. Is that correct? Hello? I represent you. You don't represent me. I represent you. I represent you to Jehovah as your senior pastor. Are you sure you are hearing? So, you guys are the ones who did that. The guys there came back and said to me, Mfundis, the people are saying there is no food. They're very short on food. So right now, we are in the throes of organizing food for Ngucheni Hospital. But I want you to see this. How would you like to be able to? You, not the church. You. To say, Mfundis, how much do they need? I say, okay, could you organize them 10 times of mealie meal, about a ton of rice, make it half a ton of cooking oil, Are you able to do them, say, 4 beasts a week? And so, it's not a problem, not a problem. That's fine. How are we going to carry the things there? I'm not so sure. No, it's all right. I'll buy a truck that will do that. How many of you would like to be able to do that? All right. Now, here is the question. How are you going to do it preaching poverty? How are we going to do that preaching poverty? Some of you know kids who haven't been able to go to school because their parents could not afford it. Wouldn't you like to say, listen, can you please have the church take all the details? I'll pay for that child until they finish their A-levels. I dream. That's all I do. I just dream. The school we are establishing, children will start off the day by prayer. Not, our Father, what in heaven. No. Prayer. Prayer with fire. You will see the pass rates that come out of that place. I dream. When I see the mall, if I can define for you the mall connected to the church, the cleaners born again, security guards are born again, the people in the shops, 1-2 complaints against your shop, you're out. Somebody else takes over the space. This is a mall where parents can lose their children. What stress. You have points. If like the young boy who was running around, like he had me say to the parent, no, I want him to be comfortable here. Because if kids can be comfortable in the house of God, they'll be uncomfortable elsewhere. Are you sure you're hearing me? So this is a mall where if you are shopping, let your children go and roam. Because there is security. When you want to find your child now, you just go to one of the centers, pick up the phone and say, I'm looking for a child like this. Within 3 minutes, one of the staff will come holding the child. Are you sure you understand? I dream. Did you know that no dream comes to pass unless I don't want to die of hunger. Samfundisi ngokuqhakathekisa imali. Hey wena. Yindaba uvuka ngo4 ekuseni lapho uphuma ikhovulu usiya emsebenzini. Then the church says money is the root of all evil. That's a lie. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says the love of. So don't love money. Love purpose. But purpose needs money. I didn't hear any of you praying this morning. Say, Lord, we love water. We love water. Viva water. But everyone here, if I say there's going to be a water shortage, you'll all start getting stressed. Am I right? Guess what? But you need pipes to bring the water to your house. Your purpose, the pipe, is the money. Okay, watch. How many of you men would like to go look at a house or look at a car for your wife and buy the car without the ile engine engakanani? Le yadla amafutha le. Le yadla amafutha. I mean, you look at a car and say, akandoka tenga. Karuita Mari, pay for it. Look at a house and say, no, I don't like this house, doesn't have a borehole. You don't like, yeah, I want a house with a borehole. Buy the house. I mean, surprise your wife. Have a full-time gardener staying there. She doesn't know you bought the house. Because you didn't have $8,000 in your account. If 8,000, she'll discover very fast. Because 8,000 is not even enough for a deposit. So you buy the house, you go put palm trees, you have the swimming pool done, everything done nicely. Then you say to her, honey, there is a house that I want you to go and see. Because you know her thoughts. You go and do up the house. Arrive there. Let her see and she'll be saying, she enters the bedroom. All the doors are touch doors. No handles. Drawers are touch drawers. You tap it, just tap, the drawer opens. Tap it, it closes. All right? Showers, automatic showers. Oh, by the way, this is not science fiction. See the way some of you are looking at me. Automatic showers. You walk in, it calibrates itself and regulates. Start pouring. You have different soap decanters. Icon life boy. Are you sure you're hearing me? And then, after she's seen, she's out of breath. Then you take out the keys. Say, are you sure you like it? Yes. Okay, here are the keys. And then you walk away. Take your wife to a car sales and there are 2 cars. And she's going to, No. Let's come back. This one here. No, yakanaka. It's okay. It's okay. What she's saying is, I hate this car. No. Get the car. Put a huge ribbon around it. Right for her birthday. Not because it's the 25th wedding anniversary. She's been working for 25 years. This woman is a national hero by now. Come on, someone shout purpose. Shout it one more time. I want to finish with this. Which one of your purposes sitting here can be fulfilled without abundance of financial resources? No. Let's not say none. Maybe there are others. Which one of your purposes here can be fulfilled without abundance of financial resources? Okay, let me ask you the last question. How many of you sitting here right now, you'd like to move from the house where you stay to another house? 3 of you, okay? Put down your hands. Okay? Watch this. So, why is it that you have faith that one day things will be fine in the country and you'll get a loan? That's the faith of many people. A faith to get a loan, but not faith to receive a harvest from Jehovah. I believe in the God of the unlimited. I believe in the God of David, who in one day you go from being a shepherd to a king. I believe in the God of Joseph. The God of Joseph. One day, your story is changed. I believe in the God of Esther. The God of Esther, one day, your story changes. Maybe some of you are going to be ready. Before we go, I just want us to pray. How important is your purpose? Your purpose must find its season. Its season is its allocated time. When you don't have jealousy in your heart, God releases to you things. Milcah, David's wife, was connected by blood to spiritual dwarfness in the form of his father Sowing. He got married to David. Either she had to change David or David had to change her. One day David danced with all his might before the Lord. She looked, she despised him. She didn't despise him. She despised his God because he was dancing for his God. She was so concerned about status. Was wanyanyisa phambili kwamakhosikazi, dancing like a fool, as if you are a lawman with a law job, but you are the king. David said, your father actually wanted to kill me. But my God who answers by fire preserved me. What you saw today was an introduction. I am still going, I am now, next time, I will remove my clothes so that you know what madness is. Immediately, when David answers her, God shut her womb. Died without a child. Why? Why? Because she despised a season. This was the season of intimacy. Intimacy is where conception takes place. From conception is where her babies would have come. So she went through the motions of sex with David the rest of her life, but never came into conception because she despised a season. That's why I keep telling you, when your friend who you've been praying with, you've been praying for a job together, when she gets a job, run, celebrate, go and get your best pair of shoes, give her to wear to work. Oh, I pray someone is going to hear me. What will you be doing? Connecting to a season. Do you know that when we were being attacked by ministries, when we were in Ntumbane, we would take money and send to them? We take money, put it in an envelope, send to them. Source it. I'd hear, oh, you know, this pastor was saying this and that about you. I'd go down on my knees. Every Sunday we would drive from Morningside, passing through town. We'd be seeing cars parked at the churches. Start praying. Father, multiply them. Raise up this ministry. Let people be touched. Let lives be mended. Let marriages find salvation. In the name of Jesus. I would see posters of a conference. I start praying. Lord, let people be healed. Let the sick be healed. Let the bound be delivered. In the name of Jesus. I'd hear of building programs. Start praying for them. Why? Because what you pray for is what God connects you to. Have you ever seen me sick? Do you know why? I pray for sick people. So it's impossible for me to be sick. You haven't seen me poor. Because I have to deal with poverty. Are you understanding? I shared with you in 2008, 2009. No food in the country. People go to Botswana, buy huge groceries, come give to us. Including people who were not members of the church. We were taking groceries and giving them to people. Our house had become a storeroom. Taking, giving to people. Why? Because we understood that this now is not a season for storing. It was a season to sow. I don't know what God wants sown in your life. I've spent 4 weeks now, I think it is. I'm talking to you about the seasons. I still have a few more weeks. I haven't finished. Because I want you to look at life and say, never, not in my generation again. You're sure you are hearing me? Oh, your response says the opposite. Thank you, Jesus.